Right, so let me just do the sound check. Right, so let me just do the sound check. All right, so yeah, everything is in order. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakwadash. Give honors to the apostles and elders of Great Stone. And shalom to the brothers on the highways and byways, pushing this word now, sincerity and truth. The sisters, believers, the helps. Shalom. This is Brother Arawam from the James Jamaica camp. And I just want to do a very quick lesson, very short lesson, based off, this lesson was inspired by a video done by the GMS Dallas in class. Let me put it again. GMS Dallas in class 144. The name of the video is Sacrifice is a Heavy Gift. Don't squander it. And very good video. Did not complete all of it, but based on what I've been seeing so far, good video. And being here in the group, our camp group, we actually just their bread and what is sacrificed, and I'm just going to share part of the conversation, that we were having in regards to this topic, and bring out a few precepts, and hopefully you brothers are edified, right? So the question was asked, what makes a sacrifice? What makes a sacrifice a sacrifice? That was the question. In its most natural sense, or what could you use to what do you use to identify a sacrifice? Right now, some of the brothers were saying that sincerity, willingness to give, also conscience. Yeah, some of the brothers have also said conscience, right, and sincerity, right. Now that's a part of it, but that's not the main thing, because really when I give a sacrifice, firstly, yes, it has to be, you have to be willing, right, and it has to be coming from a sincere place, especially as it pertains to sacrifices unto Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, it has to be sincere, right. But the key component of it is basically the value, and the brother Kabash, he basically give somewhat of a definition which I'm going to use, is me, or I'm going to tweak just one word, right? It says offering something valuable in order to attain something considered more valuable, right? And the only thing that I would add to that is that either of equal or more value, right? Because sometimes with sacrifice, it can be of equal value. That's why even when you come onto a sin, you say, oh yeah, pay for your sin. When you do a sacrifice, or basically it's a remission of sin or a redemption of sin. What you said, the wages of sin is death. So every time, as in DEATH, but in a spiritual sense, every time you sin, you're actually in debt, which is DEBT, right? Meaning that you owe somebody, say you're indebted to the Most High, right? Once you commit a sin. So the key part of a sacrifice is actually its value, what it means to you, right? So it really depends on the value of what you're giving up, right? So if give a simple example, I'm going to use a scripture of expound, right? It's let's say that I have a ball that I consider very valuable, right? And you have let's say that you have a car, right? But let's say that you have let's say just for the numbers, let's say I have 100 cars, right? And me have one ball. And me consider my ball very valuable to me. Me giving up my one ball would be more valuable, is it me, than giving up than you giving up one of your cars. Now the only way would that be of equal value if you give your favorite car, or let's say that your first car was a favorite car, right? Or that one has the most for lack of a better term, most sentimental value to you, you know, then that car, whichever one out of the 100, that would be equal to my bot, right? Because it's just as valuable or even more, right? For whatever you plan to gain in the end. And that's why even in the law, it tell you that you get the first fruits. The first things are usually the most valuable, right? Are more of better quality, you know, firstborn. So that's why even when them wicked ass elite and people are the witchcraft, I'm always ask for the firstborn son and them thing because at the level of value that it holds. You know, some things being your first, you know, first coming up with a kind of attachment or you know, the new experience. Hey, my Bible that I have right now is my first Bible. I'm telling you the truth. I find it hard to buy a new Bible because I just love this Bible, right? You know, we have a certain connection with that Bible, right? So let's get to the first scripture or the first two scriptures. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 51, verse 17. It says, "The sacrifices of Yahweh are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O God, thou wilt not despise." So that's the thing about it. Your sacrifice doesn't necessarily have to be something that is tangible. You know, a certain action is or certain, you know, time can be sacrificed. You know, putting brothers before yourself, you know, falling back. So not all the time it's actually a tangible thing, right? It's just really and truly anything of a certain value, right? Depending on whosoever is sacrificing, right? And that's the thing with the most I want is that's why you know a sacrifice sincere. Because if we follow the grace with the how about Shai, right? We follow the grace with the how about Shai, and then we get back on in good graces, it means that we're gonna give anything, right? Right? If we get back in our favors, then no care what it is, no care what the cost. No, in this study, it's a life because really and truly, that's how most people value, right? Them life. Life is valuable. Blood is valuable, you know? So that is actually showing the value of things. If you're Hawashai, you can give them life, you know? So all of that show that, look, the value is there. But in order for you actually get to that point where you go give up that valuable thing, it really, your heart really have to be contrite and broken for truth to be like, yes, I'm truly sorry. That showed the level of sincerity, right? So that was just for the first precept. Let's read it again real quick. It says, the sacrifices of Yahweh are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O Lord, thou will not despise. Right? And then it says, "Do good in thy pleasure, O unto Zion, build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Then shall thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offering and whole burnt offering. Then shall they offer bullocks upon thine altar." Right? And I think in a Psalm chapter 50, as a matter of fact, we can get it, seeing as I'm already in Psalms. Yeah, Psalms chapter 50, starting at verse 8, it says, "I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he goats out of thy folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and every cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine and the fullness thereof. I will eat the flesh of bullocks or drink, will I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto Yahweh thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High." So that's the thing. What the Most High I look for is not so much of the physical thing. The reason why them think, one of the reasons why them think they use in the sacrifice because them think they would have valuable. You know, you do a certain sin, you have to give up the um a male goat of this or you know hey, back then cattle was cattle was a part of wealth, right? So cattle and everything they had value, but really and truly it's not so much about just for sacrifice. And like the most I hungry say every me just I do something and just sacrifice a goat or sacrifice a dove or then they miss the whole point of it, right? And that is why back then they used to be so presumptuous with them sinning because they know say, yo, once we do something that's gonna sacrifice, then basically they have missed the whole point of what the sacrifice was, or the nature of a sacrifice, or what it was intended to be. Because really and truly, if you really and truly value certain things, you're gonna do your best, or you want to stay in a certain line where you don't have to give it up, right? So in a sense, you can say that was a deterrent. That was supposed to be a deterrent of from sin, right? That should have been a deterrent from sin, so that you know, Because really and truly, it kind of lose, it kind of hurt when I lose certain things or forgive up certain things, right? Right? It kind of hurt when if you basically part from certain things, right? And that is why the sacrifice is so perfect, because they're willing to suffer that hurt to make the wrong right, right? So it wasn't so much about just doing sacrifices and things of that nature. It was literally it's supposed to be something sincere. But as I say, what really makes a sacrifice is the value that particular sacrifice holds to those who are to that person that is offering it, right? Now, precept next precept is Mark chapter 12, starting at verse 41. And Yahushua sat over against the treasury and beheld all the people cast money into the treasury, and many that were rich cast in much. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. And he called unto him his disciples, meaning Yahushua, and said unto them, verily I say unto you, that this poor widow had cast more in than all they that have cast in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. Right? And just I'll go back to the conversation with Brother Kabash basically highlight him, say you can't sacrifice something you don't consider valuable, right? Otherwise it isn't a sacrifice, right? And that precept was post. And he also made another wonderful point. He says, carnally they offered more, but spiritually she offered much more, and her sacrifice was genuine. In a spiritual sense, they really didn't make a sacrifice. Exactly. You know, because what they about the abundance, like them really and truly, in a sense, you can say them never they lose anything. Them really and truly never you can basically put it that way. So they never really they lose anything, right? Because out of them abundance, they will even miss it, right? Now the next precept being Romans chapter 12 verse 1, it says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that he present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. Right? So that's the thing. Our reasonable service is actually a living sacrifice. Right? Let me look up that word sacrifice from this particular verse. And also let me just check this first. Right, play the Greek. It just says sacrifice, victim, if there's anything to the root, immolate, slaughter, that which is killed. So basically, we're supposed to basically, mortify. That's how we're gonna mortify their members as well, right? So going back to the precept, Slakia. Right, it says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that he present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service, right? Which is basically giving our all for the word of the Most High, right? Verse 2 says, and be not conformed to this word, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Exactly. Right? So part of basically you doing these lessons, you going out on the highways and byways, rather the love, working on all of that based upon what building up on your spirit. Because when you mortify your body, that is you actually, killing the old man. So you sacrifice the old man so that you can obtain the new man, which entails you serving Yahweh Hashem Yahushai in the land, you receiving salvation, you living a life of righteousness, and basically, Lord willing, we have that number, being a part of the elect and work and basically the most I find worthy, to bless with all the glory that the elect have basically achieve, you know, right? As a matter of fact, let me get notify their members whenever I have it. Didn't have it on the screen, so I'll get it real quick. This is Colossians chapter Colossians chapter 3, verse 5. It says, "Mortify therefore your members." As a matter of fact, let me and can start at 1. It says, "If ye then be risen with Hamashiach, seek those things that which are above, which Christ sitteth on the right hand of God, which are above where Christ sitteth on the right hand of God." And just like this in Romans, the second verse says, "Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And that's how we actually rise with the Hawashai as the new man, right? It says, "Set your affection on things above, not on things that are on the earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Hamashiach in the Most High." Which is what? The old man basically being put to death, the old man being killed, right? It says, "When Yahushua, who is our life, shall appear, then shall he also appear with him in glory." Verse 5, which is the point, it says, "Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry." Because really and truly, whenever you have a saying that says, if you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes a sacrifice. And that is why it's so easy to commit idolatry. Because when you put aside the Most High work, or the Most High words, when you put aside things of the spirit to fulfill things of the flesh, you basically a sacrifice unto the flesh. While if you put aside the things of the flesh to fulfill the things of the spirit, then you're basically a sacrifice unto the spirit, which is ultimately to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That is you making your body a living sacrifice, right? So that is how you multiply your members, so that way you now commit idolatry. If you put aside, let's say you put aside something to do with the most I work for your woman, it's a sacrifice unto your woman. If it's for you play a video game, it's your sacrifice unto a video game. But those are things of the flesh. That's why I say all these, read again, it says, "Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affections, evil concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry." Exactly. Is when the scripture say, love not the world nor the things in the world. Apartheid say, for the things of the world are evil, roughly paraphrasing. And one of the things that was mentioned was the pride of life, right? So even that in itself, you can be see yourself as a god and basically serve yourself. Lovers of them own self, making yourself into an idol. Once you now have sacrificed or fulfilling the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you basically are committing idolatry in a sense, right? And basically that is what spiritual fornication, right? It says Colossians 3 verse 6 says, "For which things sake the wrath of God cometh on the children of disobedience." Exactly. "In which ye also sometime, which in the which he also walked sometime when he lived in them. But now he also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy communication out of your mouth. Lie not one to another, seeing that ye have put off the old man which is with his deeds." So your deeds become the sacrifice. That is how you make your body a living sacrifice. Your deeds, right? "And have put on the new man, which is renewed in the knowledge after the image of him that created him." So that will for sure. All that spiritual sacrifice, but as I say, you have to deny yourself, right? Which basically go right in the next precept, which is book of Luke, chapter 14, verse 26. We start from let me see if it's yeah. It says, "If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple." Because really and truly, that is the thing. when you have to deny yourself, because when you're in this truth, it's not about you and your goals and what you want. It's about fulfilling the will of your Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. It's about promoting the spirit and the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, the glory and praise of your Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Right? Hashem Kodash. It's not of yourself. It's not about promoting you. It's not about your aspirations, and it's not about your wife's aspirations. It's not about your daughters and your son. It's not. It's not about them. It's not about you. It's all about Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That is why the sacrifice is in deeds, in thoughts, words, and deeds. Right? That's why even baptism in a scripture, it's an answer of a good conscience unto the Most High through Yahweh Shai. Right? It says, and whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Because just as though was Yahweh Shai sacrifice, you carry him cross and get nailed upon it. The old man have to carry him cross, purge away so you can get purged and get nailed upon the cross. The new man basically birth, right? Which get what? The new man basically get raised up by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, right? Just like in the book of Corinthians, they say, it was the incorruptible. It was sown in incorruptible. It was raised up. No, it was sown in corruption or raised in incorruption. So just like how Yahweh Shai get nailed upon it, carry cross nailed upon it, and basically rise up to the and upon the right hand of the Father. Same thing. We have to bear our spiritual crosses, nail the old man upon the cross, and basically get rise with Yahweh Shai when he return. Right? Luke first, Luke 14 verse 28. It says, for which of you intending to build a tower, sit down first and count the. And which of you intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counted the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it. So really, I have to sit down and think, say, look, them things are going to find valuable. Really, I'm going to give them up for Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And when they're giving up, it can't be of an unwilling thought or an unwilling heart. That's why I remember which book is Paul say, if you know the word willingly, if you don't preach this word willingly, basically might be damned. Roughly paraphrasing. Because you can't just give it up and say, oh, true, rare. No, you have to sincerely understand the sacrifice. You have to give this sacrifice with a contrite spirit and a broken heart, a sincere spirit, It have to be sincere. Or the Lord now will take it. Right? Verse 29 says, least happily after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, and behold, all. So I can read that back. It says, least happily after he laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. So if you don't plan to give up all you might as well never know the truth. And that is why even I remember me before me actually touch the highways and boys, brothers them always said to me, say, look here, sure, for a whole week. Especially if the brother Tazawar, I'm saying, look here, once you put your foot out on the highways and byways, there's no turning back. Right? And every day, you're sure, because we used to meet up and say, brother, you're sure. And he used to show me precepts like this, so look, say, look, it's if you don't know or if you're not sure, don't come out here. Don't do it. Basically I was warned. Right? Luke 14 verse 31, it says, or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulted whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. So I say you have to count the cost, as I say, the value, right? And it have to be willing. So it have to be a conscious effort. Repentance is a conscious effort. Sacrifice should be something of a conscious effort, It has to be sincere, not by chance. Right? It says, or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth an ambassage and desired conditions of peace. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath cannot be my disciple. So right now, Yahweh Shai tell her the cost. Him tell her when want as a sacrifice. He want all. even your life, right? That's why the scripture also say, even when fight for him life shall lose it, but he will lose him life for my sake shall find it. Just like in the law, when it does particular sins, the law tell you exactly what the sacrifice or what the terms of the sacrifice should be. And same thing here spiritually, right? Your body needed as a living sacrifice, right? And also the basically mortify yourself, basically, or mortify your members, you start become godlike, right? This is second Ezra chapter 14, verse 14, it says, let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. So that are the thing. If you now think mortal thoughts and I think immortal thoughts or godlike thoughts, everlasting thoughts, and that are the thing, the flesh we need to put off, them that are the thing we actually hold you back. Them that are the thing we need to be sacrificed, right? So that you can learn discipline, so you can obtain the fruits of the spirit, which ultimately leads to what? Eternal life, but it's a mindset. And you have to pray for that spirit. You have to pray for your Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakwa, that should give you that spirit so that you will be able to endure, so that you can make righteous sacrifices through the spirit, so that you can be built up through the spirit. Peradventure, you basically be found worthy to obtain all the salvation and all the glories and perks, lack of a better term, that comes with it, yo. To be one with Yahweh Hashem Yahushai ultimately, to receive the kingdom that that penny a day, right? So I mean, those were all the precepts. Hope the point. I think the point has been made. So yeah. So brothers, hope you really understand this the value. And as I said, pray for your Yahweh Hashem Yahushai to get that spirit, and also think and say where you consider value. Think of the things that make the most out to get the spirit to sacrifice them when the time is right. When if and when it comes on to that, which it will, you have the spirit to fulfill his will, so that you can obtain salvation. So with that, hope you brothers were edified. Once more I want to say all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakadash. We will honors to the apostles and elders of Raymond Stone, and shalom to the brides and highways and byways pushing this word now sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps, shalom.